I'm proud of you. Those 4 words can really change a person's mindset. And usually when said in sincerity, it changes a person for the better. I'm saying it to you because I may not know you, or you may know me, and I may know you from a distance, but I feel like this is something that everyone kind of needs to hear. And mainly because for me, when I hear those words from somebody said onto me, it changes my whole mindset. It changes my whole perspective upon, the man that I thought I was. And I thought about how those 4 words, how I've heard them continuously during my time in college and getting out, have changed me entirely, have made me sort of bear the weight of the various mistakes and regrets that I've had throughout my life. Just hearing those words kind of gives some sort of reassurance. And I don't know why, I've just taunted this idea of wanting to talk about those 4 words and how instead of me waiting to be heard that response, I kind of wanted to share it, instead of just waiting for people's praise. Why not, help some other people, People have been helping me all the time. I feel like it's my turn to sort of give something back to the world. And, while I'm not rich and while I do plan to, give away money for charity, as little or as much as I can, I think money says one thing, but words also say another thing, like money is physically showing change, both in behavior and personality, but sometimes, the saying words hurt more than actions. Or at least, I wouldn't even say hurt, but just impact more than actions. And those words have impacted me my whole life. And I honestly just was contemplating this idea of like, how do I express the impact of those 4 words in a YouTube video? And I just wanted to talk about my experiences, about how I heard that, I think it's because I fought a lot, and by fought, I don't mean like I actually hurt somebody. I mean like I was overcoming barriers, like I was overcoming the hill at the top, and I kept going. And I think when I heard those words, it made that climb sort of bearable. It made it actually appreciative, it made the struggles and the regrets and the worries and the doubts all mean something. And when you have that, that mindset built into your head, it's like, if I can overcome whatever I overcame, I can overcome anything, like I got through life in some of the worst ways possible. And I'm not saying this to create a sob story or anything, but I went through stuff I couldn't imagine surviving, and I'm still here, and I'm still sitting. I would say standing, but I'm sitting. And it just, it drives me crazy knowing that life is just gonna get more and more difficult, because it's like, to me, now that I'm in this position that I'm in right now, it feels, how can it get any more difficult than this? And then how can it get more difficult than this? And how am I able to, and bear it, Because to put it in perspective, when I started doing YouTube, not even on a daily basis, just on a basis of, doing it for fun, I had no care in the world. I had no responsibilities. I had nothing, lined up for me. And then I ultimately was like, okay, I care more about my education, my life, and my steps moving forward. And what was the end result of that? I ended up neglecting my sort of internet persona. And it really sucks, because I felt like I had something going. But I was too embarrassed, and B, I was too confused. And that sort of mental awareness kind of diminished the personality that I brought onto the internet when I was young. So when I look at old videos of mine from back in 2016, I'm like, that's me? I see it, but I don't feel it anymore. And I don't know if it's because of the choices I made, how YouTube's changed over time, how I feel about the world, or all 3 together. But no matter how I see it, it's like, for me, I'm always wondering, is there any worth or any value to what I'm trying to present here on the internet? And I thought about it for a while, and I thought, there was a moment in time where I wasn't happy with who I was. I still have moments like this even now, where I question, my appearance, not even just here on camera, but just in general. And to sort of get through that mindset of like, okay, now I'm here. And the last few, moments in college and high school and middle school have been relatively the same. It feels like this challenge that I'm constantly overbearing, and then when it's done, it's like, that's it? And what do I take away from that? And then I started to realize I'm thinking more about the experience instead of thinking about the people I met along the way. And that's where these 4 words came. There's like this central theme that like I was worried about who I was and if there was any value into what I was doing. And it doesn't seem big so far, but that's why I thought too big about, who I wanted to be. And I kind of was thinking about myself in a very selfish demeanor, that every mistake and every flaw and every inconvenience that I come up with or that is a result of whatever I do, I let it define me, and then I ultimately put myself in a pit hole of negativity where I just constantly put in self-doubt. And you know the saying, you're your own worst critique, an artist's critique is himself, and it's true, and it's not even pertaining to art, it's pertaining to just life in general. You sort of put yourself if you're the kind of person who's self-conscious and empathetical and actually cares about other people, at one point, or even in multiple points in your life, you're going to start to, think to yourself, okay, how do I get people's approval instead of getting approval for myself? And that destroyed me, okay? Knowing that this whole time I was scared of just myself. I wasn't scared of other people. I wasn't scared of what people thought. Because at the end of the day, people will think about you from time to time if you've done something to impact their lives. But if you're just meeting them in a certain room or certain basis or whatever, it really, they don't have time to think about the kind of person you are. They got their own lives, and but there is this like need from of assurance and appreciation from other people that I think we tend to neglect. And I'm not saying we have to write love letters or anything, but I think it's important to show the smallest gratitude possible when talking to other people. And for me, I don't know why, but it's just the sayings of "I'm proud of you." Hearing it from other people changes my whole mindset. I mean, I lay on my bed right here for nights on end, contemplating the kind of man that I am. And 9 times out of 10, I'm just not proud of it. Yeah, I'm not proud of myself. I don't know why. It's easy to like talk bad about yourself because, it's, people say if you don't agree with people's praise, you're humbling. Whereas if you give yourself all the credit in the world, that's ego talking, and it's hard to find like the balance between being humble and being ego, And so, it's easier to just go for the lesser side, so to speak. It's easier to just weigh yourself down because that way you're not like overshadowing yourself or sounding like a jerk. And so for me, I just tend to do that constantly. But what's the result of that? I have low self-esteem, I start to not believe the things that I'm doing are of any value, even if it's great or even if it's a flaw, whatever. Everything I feel like I do, when I do it, it just shatters my mind. It blows me out. It's like, why? How? What did you do to get this far? And what do you feel about it? And I can't believe I got this far, honestly, because it feels overwhelming. It feels like I'm becoming someone different and people are just looking at me like, dude, it's not that big a deal, but I treat it like a big deal. I treat it like every little new step I take in life shatters my mind. And it's because I always think that I haven't been doing enough or I don't do well. I contemplate just what exactly it is that I need to do in life to succeed. And then it's the simple response of, hey, take it easy. You did the best you could. Be proud of yourself. And when I hear that, I kind of freeze, I kind of freeze and ask myself, like, was I doing the right thing? And people are giving me that reassurance. So to top it all off, I mean, for me, when I hear those words, I think about just how much all the hate that I've felt, or the voice that I hear that tells me that I'm stupid or that I'm never gonna make it, is just me, is the fear of like the person that I'm becoming, and when that sort of plays in the fruition, you start to ask, what is it that's going to take you to drive that negativity out of your system and let you just, think positively about yourself. I mean, Terry Crews said it first, he was like, always talk positive about yourself. And I think that starts for me with these few words. But enough about me. Let me just address why I wanted to make this video in terms of the saying of, I'm proud of you. I may know a lot of you who watch my videos because many of you talk to me about them, but I may not know a lot of you. Sometimes I get random comments from other YouTubers who I don't know who they are, and it just feels like there's something real about the words coming out in the comments. I mean, from the book video that I did, the book review that I did, somebody said, I really like your style of editing. Keep going. I don't know this person. I just saw that it was just a random comment, but it felt genuine, And I don't know if it was just the way it was written or just me reading it the way that it was showcased on YouTube, but it made me feel good, And I think that says something about where you can find appreciation on social media. 9 times out of 10, people tell you to swear off social media and just find some, useful talent or useful skill in the real world. And that's great. But sometimes you get those tiny glimpses of people from, that you don't know anything about, that you're just communicating via chat or text or whatever. And it's like, you've changed the world almost, And especially when you make a big positive impact and people can appreciate that about you, it really leaves a beautiful impact on people, on just people across the world. And so I just want to say, like, I'm proud of you without even knowing who you are. But are you proud of yourself? That's where those words actually matter. Is not when you hear it directly from other people, which is great, you should, but at some point you got to ask yourself, are you proud of you? Even if you don't have it all figured out yet, even if you're a mess, even if you ask the simple questions of, am I good enough? Am I going to make it? Am I going to succeed? Am I going to get the job I want? Whatever it is, you have to ask yourself, are the challenges that you've gotten to where you are now allowing you to answer the question of, are you proud of yourself? Am I proud of me? Because I may be proud of you just for you existing, and maybe that's enough. And that's great. Take those words in the heart, but also find out that being proud of who you are, it's a blessing, I don't know, I kind of lost my track there the last part, but you get the idea, I'm proud of you for continuing to try, There's every action that we take, we don't know if it leads us to success or failure, if it draws us forward, if it draws us backwards, but I think just the fact that we choose to be here in this present moment and find the smallest value of appreciation in each day and every moment changes everything. And, I don't want to I'm sounding like a therapist as I'm saying this, and I don't want to, but I want to be able to be as open-minded to all of you as much as I can, which is what I believe a therapist should do. But the point that I'm trying to make is that with these few words, I feel like if we can just say them more often, not just to other people, but just to ourselves, even if we have a hard time believing it, it might just give us the courage to just keep doing better and keep going forward with our lives. And being proud doesn't mean being prideful. It just means being appreciative, being accepted, being admirable for the things that you have in your life and the things that you're gonna have moving forward. Obviously find time to slow down and understand, okay, I'm doing wrong, or this isn't working out, or I feel like this is heading in the wrong direction. Okay, that's fine. Analyze it, process it, learn from it, and just let it go. And that's something that even I struggle with. But the idea here is, for me, if I want to do better, I gotta be proud of all the things I do, not just the success, even the failures. And believe me, I've lived a life full of failures. Even now, there are times I look in the mirror or I'm in the shower and I'm just hearing the same response every single time, lingering in my head, that I'm a failure. I'm a failure. But what helps me in seeing myself as a failure, even if it's not true, is I'm proud. Like, I'm proud of the fact that I'm here. The simplest thing is, you're here. And whether I know who you are in this moment, or whether I do know who you are, just take these 4 words to heart, because I feel like they'll change your life forever. I'm proud of you.